I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody: friends, neighbors, family members, co workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. There we go.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society, the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our community. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host. Or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. Yes. Wa alaikum salam. We are here with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And for those who have joined us on our switchboard, of course, you can, if you're on our Female Solution switchboard, just press 1 when you're ready to speak. And if you're on our on-air radio network switchboard, just, of course, when you call in, just make sure you put your phone on mute until you're ready to speak. And we'll certainly get your comments. And, for our American Muslim 360 family, just call in 515-605-9891. And again, press 1 so our co-host Kareem Hamid can open your mic and get your thoughts. So, my brother, this month of February, we have said that we're going to address love relationships because that is what is at the foundation of so many things, whether it's the love relationship between your significant other, your partner, your spouse, or it is the love relationship between family members, or even friends. But one of the biggest things that affect us that we'll talk about today is when someone breaks your heart. When you've had a love relationship with someone that you trusted and look forward to maybe even spending the rest of your life with, but one of you changed their minds and decided to go another way, as they say. This can be devastating. We've had a few situations that people have shared with us here on the Female Solution, so we want to talk about that and see what are the steps to mending that broken heart. So many people are in situations where they're being treated badly by someone that they thought loved them. And they don't know whether they should stick it out because they made some vows, or if they should leave, yet there's still love. And unfortunately, we as a community tend not to seek professional counseling because of this idea that we're telling our business to strangers. And so we never get help, we never get healing from hurt, and we just pass that hurt on. And there's so many, as you know, so many broken families, or families that never formed because people couldn't trust someone enough to say, I'm going to commit my life to this partnership. We're so wounded, and we need to figure out how to overcome the wounds. So we'll talk about that today. And, we certainly invite those who are perhaps in that situation right now to call in and give us some insight on perhaps what they did to overcome it, or even if they're seeking advice on how to overcome it. We want you to feel that you can speak to friends who will be sympathetic. And we certainly will be compassionate in our response. So, to kind of kick things off, I want to share a story that was given to me by a friend who was with a long time, well, they were with someone who they hoped the relationship would evolve into a marriage. And this was a couple. They met when they were both in their mid years, in their 40s. And they, worked together and had great chemistry together. Even cohabitated for a number of years. But every time the woman would bring up the topic of, well, at what point are we going to actually, legalize this union, he would say, well, a woman broke my heart when I was 18. This was my first love of my life. And I went away to the military and I came back. She had married someone else and it just broke my heart. And so I just can't go through that again. And so he'd been carrying the torch for that woman for decades and just simply could not bring himself to commit to another person and risk having his heart broken. So they again lived together for another several decades. And her family would always say, well, when are y'all going to get married? And she would say, well, he's not ready. And eventually he passed away. And, because there was no marriage, there's the usual mess of, well, you were living together, but the place where you lived was in his name. It really wasn't yours, so you have to move. And it was very disruptive to her life. And even though they had been together, even in the funeral, she was listed as a dear friend, which she felt bad about. But I mean, the family felt like, well, that's the best we can do because you weren't his wife. And she was in a little bit of a depression about that afterwards. And now she feels just totally brokenhearted. She said, I spent a lifetime with this man, and it never evolved past his broken heart. And they'd done things together, traveled together, and but there was always that thing. And some people say, well, just don't worry about it. It's just a piece of paper. But in her heart, she felt like it was an incomplete relationship. And in the end was not really honored as a marriage by the family in the funeral because it wasn't. And she had to leave the house that he had bought that she stayed in, but it wasn't hers because she wasn't his wife. So it's just all of that. So what are your thoughts about a situation like that? If someone is with a person who, for whatever emotional reasons, cannot legalize a union, and that has a lot of legal implications, especially when you get to the end of life stages. What should they do? Do they just accept, okay, well, this person emotionally, they just can't make this commitment, or, and I'll just stay as it is, or do you leave? Or, I mean, what would you advise if anybody is currently in a situation like that where, for whatever reason, the partner that they're with emotionally is unable to make that legal commitment? Do they just accept it as it is, or do they move on, even though there's a deep emotional tie? What are your thoughts?
Well, as long as we don't appreciate the seriousness of our relationships with one another, then there will be these type of situations that you're expressing. There has to be commitment to each other, and that commitment should be a full commitment. You are spending something that can't be replaced. You are spending my time. And time is very valuable. You don't want to waste it. So if someone is just willing to spend your time without a full commitment based upon the value of who you are and your time, and the spirit that dwells within you, I would advise that we have to stop playing house. This isn't a game. Our life is constructed to bring about the best result. And I remember when it became somewhat in vogue to practice what was called shacking. This shack, where a shack is not the same value as a home. There's this shacking up. That's an indication of a lack of full commitment to the person that you're spending your lifetime with, and they're spending theirs with you. Time is very important. How we feel should not be played with. The strongest emotion that God has given a human being is love. It's love. So, I remember, and sometimes love can really hurt. The loss of a loved one can be traumatic. But I would advise that we do not take that trauma forward in other relationships. There's a song that comes to my mind. It was recorded by Jerry Butler. And it goes something like this. Boy, oh, I see you sitting out there all alone, crying your eyes out, cause the woman that you love is gone. There's gonna be a whole lot of trouble in your life. Oh, but listen to me, I'm all you need. Only the strong survive. That's what it said. Only the strong survive. So, to me, that's a good song.
Woo! Didn't know you had that kind of skills, brother. Yeah, it's only the strong survive.
And a mother is giving her son that your life isn't over. You eventually you gain the strength to move on. Yes, there is a period where when you truly love someone, but if you love them, here's what comes real hard. If you truly love someone, they express the desire to move to another person, or they are just dissatisfied with you. And they want to satisfy go to exercise the fullness of their free will. The best point. I want you to just tolerate it and make your life different. I want your life to be pleasing and fulfilling for you. Although this will hurt, but this is how much I love. I want you to have what you wish for you. Look older. So it's a very, very important subject. Love is a serious issue. You shouldn't play with each other's heart. If you truly love someone, one for real, and y'all both truly expressing the love for each other, why not go all the way? Why not give that person your name? Give them the rights of inheritance. Share your investments with them, and they will. You are melding two lives into one. That is so important. Stop playing with each other. Stop playing with ourselves. You know, there's some horrendous conflict of someone leaving someone that person loves. It's going to the extreme of even murder suicide.
Ooh.
If I can have no one, that shows the depth, spirit, emotion that we describe as love. It's not to be played with. It's pure affection. I'll stop right there, my sister. There's much more than I could say, but I'm looking forward to hearing from the listening audience on their opinion about love. Someone has raised their hands already here on the
Well, we've got a caller here as well. We'll go to your switchboard first, and then we'll go to 312-632. So hold on. So go right ahead and open the mics, and let's get thoughts from our listening and viewing audience. Go right ahead.
810-399.
Assalamu alaikum to you, Imam Kareem Hamid, and to Naima Latif, and to the AM 360 family. This is the priest at Hadi calling from Flint, Michigan. And alhamdulillah, I want to compliment you first on the advice that you are giving And secondly, on your seniors this morning, come to the mom. And you're absolutely correct, of course, and you and Naima as well. One find themselves in that type of a situation, then if I were in some type of situation like that, if I had been in a situation like that, I would already see that person actually, his heart is for someone else. So that means that he really doesn't have anything for me because he's holding on to what is in the past of what he's already experienced. And holding on to it so that there is no thinking in their mind even to make that type of commitment to another woman. So you're holding up the time, bro. And I like the brother man said, I would have to go on, If I say, well, you don't want to do this in the legal manner, we going, we can do a contract. You don't want to do that, you got to keep it moving. And we have to go to Allah and let Him take that hurt of what we may be feeling from that situation and give the strength to move on. Because that person is really already committed to someone that doesn't want them. But they're bent on, if you would, holding that in their heart. So he wouldn't be able to, or she wouldn't be able to love any other person and have a viable, healthy relationship. So yes, I would move on to help them along that much. Thank you all so kind for giving me the opportunity to express that.
Well, thanks so much, sister. I got a question for you. If a person is in that kind of a love relationship and, their partner is still, for whatever reason, emotionally tied to someone else who's not available to them, but they're still tied. How long should someone stay in that situation before they realize it's not going to result in that person letting go of who they were with and making that commitment? How long is long enough? 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years? Because this was a woman, she spent more than 3 decades, actually nearly 4 decades with someone. It was a lifetime.
5 years would be the most. That would be the absolute most. And the least would be at least 3 years. But the most would be 5 years. I wouldn't go any further.
No further than 5 years. I'm giving you 5 years. If your heart can't let go, then I got to let you go. Yes, I think that's reasonable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so kind.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I think that's very wise advice. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to let go of someone because you realized they weren't going to be able to take that next step, and for whatever emotional reasons?
In my younger years, yes. Yes. And it hurt. It hurt dearly and deeply. But you got to pull up. You got to know Allah is all powerful. And if we believe in Him, that say we hold Him, we hold on to Him, and ask Him for the strength to make it through, and we will. I guarantee you we will. And yes, I've experienced that before. And like I say, 5 years is the most. That when you see first, going through this, you're examining the relationship. But after that, you be like, oh, this is not going. You telling me you love me, but you really don't. Because you're in love with someone else. You want to appease me and keep me to stay. But your love, your heart is somewhere else, somewhere like that.
Wow. Well, thank you, my sister. We appreciate you so very much.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you for allowing me this opportunity as well. You all have a great day.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Assalamu
Yes. Wa alaikum salam. That was our dear sister Dupreeta Hadid from Flint, Michigan. We got to take a break, brother. And when we come back, maybe we can take a call from our switchboard, and anybody else on the Female Solution switchboard that wants to speak, please press 1. And if you are calling on the on-air radio network, all you have to do is just dial in 727-731-5192. Just make sure you keep your phone on mute until you're ready to speak. And we will be right back after these brief messages. So we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. And if you are watching us live on the Female Solution Facebook page or YouTube channel, feel free to write in your comments and we will share them with our listening and viewing audience. And we will be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Hi, this is John Alexander.
And I'm Naima Latif. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world.
Big difference.
Watch us every day on The Media Connection at www.youtube.com/The Media Connection TV.
YouTube it. We'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms.
Join us every second Saturday at lunch, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time here on Female Solution Global Radio TV show. The neighborhood of choice. We're looking for walk in the light. So call us 605-965. Just press 1 to speak to the host. You can also join us live on the channel. You can see you on the second Saturday on the neighborhood of choice.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family on this Wednesday morning, where we're talking about love. And the question is, after a broken heart, can you heal and love again? It's not easy after you've been hurt by someone who disappointed you. And even if you invested time, they say it's like gambling, you know, when you've gambled, for those of you who gamble, it's like gambling. You know, you invest the money in it, you win a little bit, you keep going because you get greedy, and then you start losing money, and then you keep gambling because you're trying to win back the money that you lost, and then you keep losing because you feel like, oh, I've invested too much, I gotta keep playing now so that I can eventually win. And that's how people end up going bankrupt, because they don't know when to stop, because the law, because they put in so much, they don't want to end in a loss. So they just keep on spending money, gambling, hoping for a win that never happens. So it's the same thing with a relationship that's going nowhere, that you spent time in, and you don't want to let it go because you've spent so much time, and you don't want it to end in a deficit, in a loss. So you spend some more time, but then you end up like this woman that we shared her story. At the end, you basically spent all your time and lost everything. So at some point, you should have known to get out of the game. Like our sister Jabritha said, 5 years. I'd say that's pretty much. I think that's reasonable. So we've got a caller. We'll take on our line, and if you've got another call on your switchboard, we'll go to that one after this one. Area code 312-632, Grand Rising. Thank you for joining us. Give us the name you're calling from. All righty then.
If you want to know the heart and mind of a man, not about his past accomplishments, but rather ask what he aspires to do. Among other things, I aspire to meet the grandmother of Paris, Catherine Michael Jackson, Mrs. Catherine Jackson, in the presence of her granddaughter, and talk about the feasibility of my marrying her for the purpose primarily of acquiring that, I would call it prospective pandemic farm in the form of the Neverland Ranch, which, by the way, was zoned for agricultural use. And that land should be put to good agricultural use. And I see it as the first iteration of Pandemic Farm. It's about 100 acres, I think. And it's in California. And just like they have ARC seeds, they generate all of these heirloom seeds. Well, I see that as being a great potential, the Neverland Ranch in California.
All righty.
Which I believe the Jackson estate still owns.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 years ago, when I was 52 years old, and Paris Jackson was 15, she's 25, going to 26 now. I'm pretty sure she's still single, and I think there may be a unique compatibility between myself and Paris Jackson.
Okay, well let's take a look at that then. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Because, when people are wealthy, there are a whole lot of folks that will probably pursue them because they have tremendous wealth. And often we have observed that when people are wealthy, they tend to be skeptical about marriage because they tend to be suspicious of the motives of people. And if one has had tremendous wealth, they probably have had a number of experiences where people disappointed them because they realized that people were after their money and not really sincerely into them. So that's great to have the ambition, but you should probably know that there are others that are pursuing people like her and others who have wealth. And the fact that one has wealth makes one tend to be suspicious. That's why we see a lot of times if people haven't gotten married before they got rich, sometimes they don't get married. And a lot of times the marriages don't last because there's so many conflicts involved. And you would think money solves everything. Actually, money can be the big catalyst for most problems, especially when there's not trust. And of course, there's a famous couple I won't mention just because I don't like talking about people's personal lives. But it's noticeable that the woman who is mega wealthy, global star, has not married this man who's been with her for decades. And it's probably, she said, You know, if they got married, they probably wouldn't have worked. So it works for them to just be committed but not married, because she's the one that's got the tremendous wealth. And probably for the trust factor for her is just to keep it as it is. Just know that I'm committed, but there's not going to be a legal tie, because I'm not sure what's going to happen to my wealth after I join with you legally. And I want to make sure I keep 100% control of my assets. Now, probably y'all can guess what I'm talking about. But I mean, she's made her position public on that. So Kareem, what are your thoughts about when a person feels that they can't trust people because maybe, and they may have fame, wealth, or whatever, but they've been scammed by people who have maybe married them for their, and that brings me to another situation that was shared with me some time ago. And this was a man who had the money. Wonderful man, loving, kind man, generous man. And because he was wealthy, he could pretty much choose the kind of woman he wanted. And like many men, he chose someone who was young and beautiful, and spent all kind of money on her, kept her in the best clothes and cars and all the material things. And then he found out she was having an affair with a younger man who didn't have much money, but that's who she really liked. And she ended up leaving him for that younger man. It took a while though, because they had to go through a divorce, and he had to pay her quite a bit of his assets. And he was so angry and bitter about that. He said he would never marry again. And one of the things that he said, that made him, he said, really sour on marriage was the fact that just because you have a legal tie with someone, you have to pay them money if you divorce. And he didn't like that. And he said for that reason, he would never marry again. He would just have relationships, but he would never again give someone that kind of access to his financial empire that he built, and have them do him like that. So he was really brokenhearted and bitter, very bitter towards women. And the fact that she left him for somebody who didn't have much, but was good looking, I guess, or like whatever. She had a reason that she wanted to be with the man she wanted to be with, and he felt like he had been used, and that he had to pay because he had married her. So what would you say to a person who perhaps, and I know men and women who have money and are very cautious about getting involved in relationships because they feel like because they have money, people could have the wrong intentions, and they perhaps been burnt before. So should a person only then associate with people of like means, as assets that they're bringing to the table? Should you not consider a relationship with somebody who has less because of that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that is a large issue that we are confronted with. The distribution of assets. If someone already has wealth and they accumulated that wealth without you being present, they accumulated that. In that portion of the wealth, if there is not a demand that person share what they accumulated on their own. Now, what is accumulated during the that becomes mutual assets and mutual property. There are so many scams. There are so many people that are seeking to attach themselves to someone with wealth. There are women that follow NBA teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
That follow the NFL. The idea is to somewhat beg one of those players.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you have to admit that, yes, there is deception between men and women. But as I stated earlier, if the access was accumulated prior to me meeting you, then that wealth belongs in my charge. But whatever is accumulated while I'm with you, you are contributing to the accumulation of that wealth. Trust is a very, very, very necessary ingredient. Why even be in a relationship? Why even be in a relationship with someone that you can't trust?
Absolutely. Trust is everything.
To live with someone that you definitely can't trust. It's torture. Last Wednesday, we stated the idea that in the Islamic marriage, that the groom and a bride are given advice given to live as if you two are the only two people on the earth. And the civilization is dependent upon you to establish it and move it forward. That requires a great degree of trust. When you fold your life over into the life of another, it is very important to trust people because you expect your child to protect your interests, to increase whatever that come to you both. We are both being rewarded for of loving one another, caring for one another, maintaining one another. That time has to be there. But if we're just shutting up, to just walk away anytime you get then that person has wasted a huge investment on you. They have invested their time. Now, let me say this. The 5-year limitation on when you should make a decision about leaving someone, not being with someone. My advice is that when it becomes apparent to you, regardless of how much time, when it becomes apparent that person desires someone else, you should give them their freedom. But I don't want to be with you. You don't want to be with me. That's a situation to be in, to know that. So when it becomes apparent, free yourself, have the courage and the fortitude. Whatever pain comes after that, God says to us human beings, after a difficulty comes release. That was just not the person for you, but the earth is populated with billions.
Yes.
Why sacrifice the rest of my future, my life, because of the loss of one individual? It is God that places love between those two, between male and female. So there is someone for you. Don't give up. Don't just shut down. Cut off your life. Life is very precious. It's very serious. So when it becomes out, this person doesn't really want it. Give them their freedom so that they can be satisfied with the choice that they make. I want you to be happy. And if your happiness is tied to your not being with me, I want that for you. I love you that much. I want that for you. And eventually, I'll find someone else to love. You know, I received a message from someone speaking with a person. And they said to me, yeah, you speak so glowingly of your wife. You speak so of your wife that has passed. That some women are saying, I wouldn't marry him because he's too attached to the love of his past wife. My answer to that person is, the heart is large. The heart, it to include the whole of creation. The heart has the capacity to love more than one person. The heart has that. So I wouldn't shortchange my heart because someone has a bond with me, of someone that they has invested their life in. Perchance you can be and receive of that precious love, that precious care. So, just say that we have to let's say, yeah, be honest. You tell her honesty. You know she don't really want you. Be honest with yourself. Don't try to hold on to your life with hers too. Only the strong survive. Wow. And not the difficult. In the difficulty is the ease. I don't know how to deal with people that are going to hurt, but there is quite a few that can truly love. But you will never meet it if you give up now and for your life. Well, you know, that's some wise words. Now, you mentioned being attached to a spouse who has transitioned, and I know that happens quite a bit because when you've had a happy marriage and if it ends with someone's passing, then you have good feelings about that person. If it was a good relationship and you miss them. Now, this situation with a friend of mine who probably the same kind of feelings he had, you know, glowing things about his wife who had passed away. She had, you know, he loved her deeply. And a woman that he had been considering as possibly a love interest, you know, she came by to visit him, and he had this great big picture of his wife, his wife who had passed away on the wall. Great big picture of her, you know, dominated the whole wall pretty much. And she said to him, well, if we get together, you're going to have to take that down. And he said, well, why would I do that? I mean, this was our home we had together. This, you know, I loved her. She really affected my life. You know, we had children together. Why would I remove her as if she didn't exist? And so this woman, she was asking me advice as to whether or not she should end that relationship or not even pursue a relationship with a man who had a great big picture of his wife on the wall. And, you know, or if they were to get together, she said, well, should I make it a condition that we move into another house? I don't think I want to be in the house with another woman's presence so prominent
and his heart is obviously still attached to her. Now, of course, this was a couple in their 50s. So that means, he had a lifetime with a woman. They raised their children together. The children come back and visit the family home, and there their mother's picture is on the wall. So she felt like she would never be welcomed as his new wife as long as his previous wife was prominently displayed on the wall in the family home, and she just felt like she would always feel like an intruder, and she didn't feel like the children would ever welcome her as his new spouse. And they were grown children, so it's not like she's coming in to raise somebody. They grown, they got their own families, but their mother has passed away, so she's not ever going to be present in the physical. But this woman who was pursuing the man who had not pursuing, but of course there was mutual interest, but her feeling is that his wife's presence was such a dominant force in his life. She said I can't compete with a ghost. This woman is always going to be perfect in his eyes, no matter what the problems might have been. She felt like she would never measure up because this woman had such an impact, and her presence in the house. So what are your thoughts about the photograph? Do you think if he were to pursue someone else that he should remove the photograph, or should the woman that wants to marry him just accept the fact that this is a fond memory that he's going to keep displayed in his house? What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing of the leader of the household, with no hesitation, the female arranged in the home, arranged into so that everyone living there derives or productive, healthy environment. For me, every female, every woman has the right to have her own domain, her own environment. She arranges herself, and for real, we should not even interfere in that. We shouldn't even interfere in that. Give us suggestions as to what should go where.
Yeah.
The domain of the female, he has to for me, how is he taking note of how he is making his wife feel? Feel. He should be closely connected with her. That he has a greater concern than just the charity, but he has a concern about the spiritual and emotional side of his prospective bride's world. His wife, there's nothing wrong. She can, matter of fact, he will always live in his memory. In his memory. But Travis' wife, she is number one. Number one in his life and in the environment that she arranged and prepared for the family. She should not share. She doesn't have to share. That is her domain. She's the queen of the home. These are the natural processes. These are the natural processes that Almighty God has put in order for us. The first social contract is between husband and wife. The first constitution is between husband and wife. The first social construct is husband, wife, and family. Everyone must know there's neither role in that. The roles are They are very important. You should just never please someone to oppress wife. You are kind to her, she's kind to you. My wife lives in my memory and my heart. The capacity is so small that I can love someone. That you are very restricted to yourself. As the song goes, there's a whole lot of for a good man like you, but you will never be if you give up now. Go for both gender, both gender. So we have a call here on
Yes. Well, we gotta take a quick break and come back. I understand I gotta fix some audio issues, so we'll do that during the break. So we'll be right back after this quick break, and you all stick and stay. We're gonna come to our American Muslim 360 guests after this, and we'll be right back to talk about healing from a broken heart. Can you love again? We'll be right back. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Hi, this is John Alexander.
And I'm Naima Latif. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world.
Big difference.
Watch us every day on The Media Connection at www.youtube.com/The Media Connection TV.
YouTube it. We'll see you soon.
Listen to the show.
Okay, we are back. All right, now we go with echo. Still trying to fix an audio issue. Let's see. And
I'm Bianca, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Bianca.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we have time to use
yes.
You can convert your regular
Walaikum
home
salam.
to
And we really
and save tremendously
trying
on your
to
electric bill.
test some audio issues. I had a couple
Would
of
you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether?
audience members said that they could not hear on our Facebook and YouTube channel. So I was kind of trying to make sure that everybody could hear everybody. So, let us know if you can hear our co-host as well. You can, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. And you've got a caller. So we're back. We'll open the mic for that caller, and hopefully everybody can hear.
Jericho 77449. Welcome to the Female Solution.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Amir Muhammad Shaheed. Oh, wow. This is so wonderful. So it's me. The subject is well overdue. Wow. It's just so many facets to sacredness of marriage, do's and don'ts. Allah really tells us when we're going through something in our life to take counseling, whether it's you're getting ready to get married, you're already in a marriage. What we don't know that we don't know, we did, it would make a difference. And for the Muslims, we always estimate our wali because we don't know everything going into a relationship, and sometimes we need to have advice from another person that can shed light onto things that we have no clue about. And we should always have conversations of what to expect and what not to expect. In a situation, you and Brother Green, you can write the book. And from what I've been hearing this morning, and advice that you've been given. And when we come to a point where they come, your side of the family and one her side of the family, and come together and see if it could be where it may not even come to a divorce. It may just be misunderstanding or getting and I think that if we have a problem in a divorce, we shouldn't bring anybody else in the situation that's not going to be a person that can give us good advice. Sometimes you have hidden agendas, hidden motives. But if you go to someone that you feel that you can trust, that will give you the right advice, it's a possibility you can save your marriage. Really, truly. So always put a line in front, whatever we're doing. And Brother Kareem, when you were saying about holding your wife in your heart, that's a beautiful thing. Because like you said, the next sister to be the recipient of that love. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you carry in your heart, and I bless you for that. But I just wanted to say, I didn't want to be long-winded, but I'm so passionate about subjects like this here because we want to preserve the sacredness of marriage. So let's always go into it in the name of the Lord. And if we done all that we can do, then we have to say it wasn't be. And so, like Brother Kareem said, a lot of earth is spacious, so if that's not the person, someone else will. But try your best to save your marriage. And brothers and sisters respect each other. We know that a person is married, and even if they're going through some problems, don't come in there, thinking that, well, maybe it's a possibility to me. No, let that person try to work that situation out to the end. And then if there's no well, then maybe something else can happen. But always respect the person's of their marriage. I just want to say that, and I can say thank you for bringing this subject up. And I think it should be talked about more, and especially in our Muslim community, because we have a lot of divorces in our community. And I believe that a lot of them can be saved with the right information, imparted upon us. Thank you so much.
Salam. Yeah, sister, we certainly appreciate your words of wisdom. I have a question for you also. Oh, and tell me your name again, sister.
I'm here for you.
Oh, wonderful. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask, because it comes down to that issue of how much time do you spend trying to save a marriage, and at what point do you call it quits? Like I mentioned about people who spend money hoping to win money when they gamble, and after they've spent so much, they don't want to stop until they can win because they've lost so much, and so they keep putting more money into it. And it's the same thing with a relationship. It started out great, and then it went bad, and then you think, well, let me try to save it, and you stay and stay and stay and invest more and more time. So what do you think about the 5-year limit that's been suggested? Is 5 years enough time to decide if something's not going to get better?
It depends on the working mechanism that's ingredients in that relationship. Sometimes it's a shorter period, sometimes it's longer. I always try to go to a long for this guidance in anything that I do. And I move from that direction. Our heart is in our relationships. So sometimes as Kenny Rogers used to say, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, my sister. We appreciate your wisdom. I think that's always yes, absolutely. And I think sometimes people don't want to pray because they don't want God to tell them something they don't want to hear. But you do need to. I mean, marriage is a spiritual decision, and you have to go to the one who knows the soul of both of you for insight, because you don't know. Like you said, you don't see everything, and you need to get a perspective that you don't have, so you can not make a decision based on emotions, because sometimes our emotions are deceptive. We know what we want to happen, but we don't know what's in the heart of the other person, and obstacles that may be inside of them that they just simply can't overcome. We can't make it be the way we want it to be. We have to accept it as it is, even though that might be painful.
Yes, I agree. That's why we take everything to Allah for finding conscience.
Yeah, and you have to listen for the advice and then take the advice you get. I mean, if you're asking God to show you and God shows you and you don't like what you see, but you have to accept it because it's for your benefit. And prayer always give you an answer. You got to listen to it and heed the information that you're receiving, because it is for your benefit. Even if it means you're shown that this is not the person that's best for you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes.
We got another caller here whenever you're ready.
Go right ahead. Open the mic of the next caller.
Thank you, Sister Shahid, for your value for his kids.
Absolutely. And then we got another caller on our switchboard, 706-202. We come to you after the next caller on the AM 360 board. Go right ahead. Open that mic.
Code 706-627. If you're there, where you're calling from? Yes, sir. I said, I'm Brother Muhammad from the Ummah, Prophet Muhammad, by the way of Columbus, Georgia. And as always, we're on point on what we're trying to do with ourselves. And just like Mira said, my 40-something years of marriage with my wife, based upon how much freedom I give her to worship Allah, how much she gives me to worship Allah, how she supports me with that freedom to do so. And when we have an interruption of that, first we know it's TikTok. Then we look at the reality of this human world that we live in, the cars or whatever it is. What is he using to make us have a difference in now about an issue or whatever, or that one for you? And then we don't have the community to look at the model. We don't have the resources like a married an imam or a sister or a brother who's responsible for marriage counseling in the masjid, in our community, who's available to be able to deal with sisters who are having problems at home, or brothers to have a brother who's well versed in worldly problems and the Quranic solution to those problems in the and certification, if they can get it, to help let the person know who is receiving their services, know that they are qualified. First of all, they're only trying to be allowed to help them to be allowed to be capable of doing it. And we know that Papa Isa, was now, including ourselves, that we're going to need to be comforted after this book we've been going through, after this experience we have been going through. And we're going to need to be counseled. And he who will lead you in all truth is the one that you will have to teach this from. And he has a book of guidance that will help you that you or Shaitan or anything comes up against you. And you can set that turn to how to get yourself free. You can continue to be a good wife. You can continue to be a good husband. Both are trying to work together. Procreation and bringing on the trust that they're going to be responsible for. Children. And so all the time by law to remind us that establishing the community life of how Islam is number one. Until you do that, you'll be speaking unknowingly or knowingly with a split tongue, a duality. Until we make our mind that there's only one God, one world that we have to be responsible for establishing. One word to solve all problems, or one book, or one human example that like the Prophet Muhammad. They have solved up those free will creations called human beings. I don't want you to sway them. I don't want you to give them false impressions or give them false hope or make any one of them suffer the freedom of something interfering with them for the law. In their own own soul first. Get in the love of your husband or your spouse, or your wife, and your children, and your home. Where when people walk, you feel so comfortable in here. You seem like that. When we talk to them, and it's indication of that right now, what we did is you said we're talking about people who are not supposed to have some problems and how people solve them. When we got to so mixed up, that person can't see what a Muslim woman is supposed to be like, what a Muslim man is supposed to be like. Because we keep talking about people who are having difficulty because they're problems that they don't see like we do. And one of the criteria that we have to learn and repeating the criteria about if we go over that every week, or what it is for them to take and what is your obligation? And how do I friend upon each other's freedom? As a human being that Allah has given to all of us, and we have no country first of all in the community of men. And growing to a community of people will be a model example for those who are going through the same battle with the Gentiles and those human beings who are giving you a hard time by creating an environment that keeps them practicing. Pay attention to something that keeps you away from if that's what really said. When we got so much stuff about you can explore your reality and what those are so many things that husband and wife can talk about free of the whispers of the Shaitan or the people who might be under the influence in this crisis that we're in right now. We're doing a Hebrew. We're learning how to walk out the Bible. From the break of the Bible. That means we was already in the Bible. But we're going to walk out from the Hebrew. We have to practice to do that. And we have to and we're going to offer you the faith. What's up with faith in your heart? And how do you stop that? Because when a husband and wife have problems, they down and there's something environment around them. It's not the most of them. So we need to have people in the community. We need to have the community where we get some type of that. We can look around and say, home, so let me go to a line, and I can get a car and building and it's depending, they got the best of that. So that our children will learn the same way.
Well, Brother Muhammad. Brother Muhammad, wa alaikum salam. Brother Muhammad, we appreciate your sharing your success of you and your wife. And we always want those who are doing well to be able to give insight to those who are struggling with this very basic thing of maintaining relationships. And the difficulty that people have, even though people may have guidance from their religious books, they somehow haven't been able to master that basic golden rule of treat others as you wish to be treated. And so there ends up being a lot of anger. And Sister mentioned earlier, I think it was Sister Preetha that said there are a lot of divorces, even in the spiritual communities, where people you would think have been given clear guidance. And yet, when it comes to marriage and two people who are trying to live as a unit, there are conflicts that come about that don't seem to be able to be resolvable, even though they're both reading out of the same book. And what I have observed is that people have things inside of them that they have not addressed. And we talked about this on our earlier shows. One of our hosts talked about the ACE test, which means adverse childhood experiences, and things that have happened in our childhood that have scarred us emotionally. And we come into a marriage with unhealed wounds and scars from what happened to us. And we're constantly reacting to those memories and inflicting our reaction on our spouse. And a lot of times we don't talk about those things that hurt us. In the courtship process, we don't reveal those things that we're struggling with. And so we bring them into the marriage and they affect the marriage. And we end up divorcing because we have not been honest with ourselves. We're thinking we have to present this picture of perfection because we are part of a religious community. And we're not honestly addressing the defects that are in us because we're still responding to those adverse childhood experiences. And things like coming from a home where parents divorced, or parents were violent toward each other, or violent towards us, or there was sexual assault or abandonment. All these things that leave us unable to trust someone because we've been violated. And I think Brother Kareem said earlier, the biggest thing is trust. And when someone who you love or thought should love you violates that trust, it's hard to have a relationship where you can trust a person again, because at your foundation is fear. And many of us come into relationships where that foundation is fear. Fear someone's going to humiliate me, disrespect me, abandon me, disappoint me, hurt me physically. And you're coming into a relationship with fear. And so every little thing makes you react. And I see that as a big part of why people who are people of faith still end up getting divorced, because they haven't addressed their adverse childhood experiences. And they haven't addressed the lack of trust that they have as a result of those experiences. So it's something as simple as, a wife or a husband saying something, and then, their spouse responds with, well, you disrespected me, and then there's an argument. Maybe that person didn't disrespect you, but because you've been disrespected or felt disrespected, maybe from parents that slapped you, hit you, cursed you out, or whatever, everything that other person does triggers a response, a fear response that you're about to be hurt. And these are things that we experience, but we don't get help because we won't talk about it. And we won't admit that these things are affecting us. So Brother Kareem, what do you think we can do when it comes to people who are planning a relationship or in a relationship and there's perpetual conflict, and yet it seems unresolvable? Do we need more marriage counselors who can help people get to the root of their pain rather than divorce always being the solution. When people may love each other, but just they're hurting each other. So what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm not discouraged of seeking out. Almighty God has given the best prescription if there looks like that there is a breach in the marriage. And we have to follow the guidance. It's not the religion that is wrong. We have to fail to follow the guidance provided. Almighty God has given us a prescription. He says, lead with respectable, responsible members of both families. We know some of our families, we have a lot of people that are, some of them are somewhat foolish.
Yeah, not everybody's wise. Yeah, somebody with some wisdom.
Express itself. So to get with a therapist doesn't have a dog in the fight.
They can be objective.
These two, they become impersonalized. They don't have an investment. But in marriage, it is the joining of blood relationship. The sacred blood relationship. And when you consult with those people from both families that desire reconciliation, they have a dog in the fight. They're invested in this marriage. So they will give the best. Almighty God says that if there is an intent for reconciliation, then they should meet trusted members of. Let's try that. Or we are doing that? I don't know. But if the desire is for reconciliation, then in a lot of cases, ribs can be mended. But if the desire is still to separate, then let your partner go with good intention, with a good heart. Don't try to hold on.
Let them go. They want to go, let them go.
Don't try to take someone's limited free will that God has given all of us. You know, so the family is very important in what we call the nuclear family. The small family, you know, husband, wife, children. But there are other tributaries associated with that family.
Right.
Grandparents, father-in-laws, mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And so we should utilize the prescription given us. Let me say this. There are 3 requirements or things that facilitate marriage. First, the person that you are looking at or you have a desire to marry, they must display what we call top one, a sacred regard for Almighty God, a respect for religion and the religious principles associated with that. These are very endearing. That someone has such a reverential connection with the Creator. That is one of the things you look for. The next thing is beauty. You want to marry someone that is pleasing to your eyes. Someone that every time you look, you just have to tolerate how they appear to you.
Wow.
That's the best state. I'll share a situation in the Prophet Muhammad's life. We pray the prayer of peace upon him. He daughter Aisha to marry Sayyid. And the Prophet Muhammad had adopted Sayyid as his, that he would and care for him like he would one of his children. He encouraged Aisha to marry Sayyid. He said, have reservation. But I really advised the encouragement of her father. She married him. He tolerated. She went back to the Prophet Muhammad and asked him to release him from this marriage, because when I see they standing in the company of other men, those other men are more attractive and alluring to me.
Ooh, wow.
So the prophet acknowledging what she is sharing with him, he released her, told her, you are free to leave. Now this was done.
Annulled the marriage.
That is legal.
That's interesting.
That was the point.
Yeah.
Yes. And also for steps. If someone married the woman that we all think about, then her connection is the status, is the position of the person that will marry her.
Right.
And also, it raises the status of the extended.
That's true. That's true.
These are all, so we have to follow the guidance. Almighty God says, I do not wish to praise you to Almighty God. He said, I do not wish hardship for you. The Creator says, I do not wish hardship for you, but that you be purified. So why is that purification? Because we bring with us the influences of a life that many times have not been.
That is true. That's true.
So the idea of purification is meeting the standards of the faith and abandoning those standards, those things that go against the faith and the original nature of the human being, so that we be purified.
Well, we got to take one last break. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got to take one last break, and we got a call on the line. But and we got a couple of comments I'm going to share also from our Facebook and YouTube viewers. But I think I feel that what a lot of people got out of that story is that if your spouse does not look good to you, then, or your potential spouse, if you don't like how they look, don't marry them, because you're not going to really you're not going to be true to them. So be true to yourself. If you're not attracted enough, just don't do it. Even if they have money, because that was the situation with the wealthy man. He married the beautiful woman. She didn't really care too much for him, but she wanted his money. And he felt used when he realized she was holding on to him, but having relations with someone else. So that was happening. So we're going to take this last break and come right back and take 706-202. You're up next. And anybody else in your switchboard, please let us know. And we'll be right back after this quick break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. So stay with us. See if we can bring you up on screen here. And of course, if you are listening online and want to join this conversation, you can call in. Of course, you know our blog talk number is 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891 for the American Muslim 360 channel. And you can call in on the on-air radio network 727-731-5192. That's also scrolling across the screen. So we will be right back. We've got a caller on the on-air line right now. We'll be right back. So we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. And we will be right back after this message. So stay with us. Alrighty. Okay. All right. I think I don't think we've got sound on this commercial. All right. Well, and let us one more break and be right back.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we want to hear from you. We've got some as we continue to talk about love and help people with that very challenging situation when someone has broken your heart. Can you love again? Well, let's go to our phone lines and take your call. And of course, again, if you are watching us on our Facebook or YouTube channel, feel free to write in your comments and we'll share them with our listening and viewing audience. And we've got a comment from Deborah, our third Saturday host, and she says, so are we not to expect to recover from broken trust? I think we can and should in corrective settings. We forgive ourselves when we clearly do wrong or be foolish. We want others to forgive us. Well, that's a good point, Deborah. There's the issue of forgiveness. And if someone has wronged us, how do we forgive?
It is important that I make this correction.
Okay.
It was not Aisha. It was the prophet's daughter, Fatima.
Ah,
I needed to make that.
yes, I remember that. Absolutely. It was his daughter, Fatima, and she married him and then realized she really didn't like him. And so they ended the marriage, which was the honorable thing to do. Rather than stay in something and you really wish you weren't there. Because you know what happens if you marry someone and I've had friends who've had like arranged marriages or marriages that the family encouraged them, but they really in their heart didn't want to be with the person. When you don't want to be with someone, you actually find yourself not treating them well. And they will feel your rejection. So it's better to be honest and just let it go. And it's not in your heart. So we got a couple of calls here. Let me take area code 706-202. Introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and give us your thought about, can you love again after a broken heart? Go right ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
This is Elder Kwame. Elder Kwame Sunhorse. I sit here at stolen lands of the Muskogee Creek in Edenton, Georgia. Excellent topic, because the first part is to love again, and the answer to I would my own way is to say that first have to understand how to love. Number one, your creator, but then how do you love yourself? Because in the process that you're going to marry or you're going to have a relationship, it's first and foremost, how do you have a relationship with yourself? And then seeing that other person, how do they have a relationship with themselves? And how do they love themselves? And then, once upon a time, we had what was called courtship. And that you met the family and you were interactive with seeing where did they come from? Who were the people in their lives that helped to raise and direct them on the path that they are today? And so what we're seeing is that online dating, dating clubs, different ways of having a relationship. But the bottom line is that if you don't have a relationship and know how to love you, not conceit, not egotistical, not narcissistic, but to love you as you love this planet Earth. And the part of that is that if you understand how to do that, and then you can find a person that reflects that part of how they love themselves. You're not going to be perfect because I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking at, can we bring this together with putting all the cards on the table?
Mm-hmm.
Because a picture on the wall, all you got to do is just leave that picture up there and put yours next to it if you feel that insecure about it. But the part...
Now that's a thought.
We have
Right, because that's what I couldn't understand when you were talking about it. That number one, you're going to marry someone and move into their house. That's
Yeah.
not you all's house.
That's
y'all
true.
Take and go by together.
Right.
You're moving in someone else's space where they raised children and she was the queen of that house. And his children come back to that house to look at their mother up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where they were raised in.
Right.
So if you feel that you need to add yourself to this, put your picture on the wall. That's real simple.
Now that makes sense. Just add yourself. Add yourself. And I think that's good advice.
You added yourself into his life.
Right. Right.
So if you are respected, then he will add you on the wall of his house.
Now that makes sense.
Want your picture on the wall, then that tells you something.
Ooh, there you go.
That picture was on the wall when you were visiting him and courting him, so that picture did not leave.
Right.
So it's that love never dies.
Right.
You just move on to another person that you attempt to share your love with them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you add.
You divorce, but the first part of it is you have to first understand that how you love yourself, and then you tell a person, well, I love you, but if you don't know how to love you, who you lying to?
That's powerful, brother. We appreciate that. We got a couple other callers I'm going to try to squeeze in, but I like that remedy. If you got a problem with a person's previous spouse on the wall, well, add your picture, because that's what you're doing. You're adding to their life. You're not taking away what they had, because they had that. So, honor that. Let them honor that. I think that makes sense. Thank you so much, Baba Kwame. We appreciate you so very much for sharing your wisdom. We got about 3 other callers here. If you have other calls on the switchboard there, we want to make sure we get to those as well.
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, we're gonna. Okay, we're gonna see if we can squeeze in these 3 773-450. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your comments on how can you overcome a broken heart and love again. Go right ahead.
How are you bringing Grand Rising on?
Yes, Grand Rising.
Of course. First of all, it's more like what, society has an interesting way of trying to get people to meet each other, which sometimes is all right and sometimes it ain't. But I think the biggest mistake is what people expect of somebody. When you're young guys, you see somebody, she's cute, you just really want to talk to her for maybe one thing. You don't have a clue as to what all the different things in life that people need. So when you're young and you're just thinking about sex, that's really the reason why we have so many children born. They don't have any love because people just make babies and they got no connection to that. So my point I was making is, it's like the brother was saying, you have to start with who you are.
Absolutely.
Our biggest problem as human beings is that we think we're supposed to be serving creatures, but the way it really works is we're supposed to serve our Creator who created us. Once you get in tune with your Creator and have that personal conversation, find out what your gifts and talents are, that will direct your life, and you will meet the people along the way that can help you do a greater good. So
I agree.
Run into somebody and break up with them. These people that do all this, I feel so bad and all this stuff. I understand if you break up with somebody, it could be heartbroken. But that's not the end or the beginning of your life. That's why even people that have perfect relationships, is that what you want to call them? They expand themselves because one day somebody's going to die. So I'm just saying, we should focus more on how you can improve each other. So when you get involved, not necessarily a relationship just to get involved in whatever, but just a friendship that will direct you and make you a better person. That's the part they miss out on. They always go for something bigger, but what about just meeting somebody and enjoying their company?
I agree.
People get married, then they go live together, they have nothing in common.
Oh, that's true.
They're not used to each other.
That's true.
We don't flow with the natural flow. We're trying to find love. And you can't find love. Love comes to you along your path of life.
Yes.
Do it the other way around. Otherwise, you got a whole bunch of people that are angry, and then they hold it over somebody else. Oh, I'm brokenhearted, and they stay brokenhearted for 2 years to make who feel bad.
Ooh.
I mean, come on, y'all.
That makes sense.
You have to have more of a directive on your own. And that's the problem. Too many people want to get in relationships, You're not even ready for enlightenment. And this is the last part. When you develop yourself to a higher level and you're in tune with the universe, you will meet the people that you need to meet. If you stop and look at your life and think of some of your friends you had, there was no way you were even supposed to meet them. They were chance meetings, and you've been friends for years.
Right.
Nobody has to direct it. Just let it happen, y'all.
Just let it happen.
Stop
That
controlling
makes sense.
stuff and let it flow. What
Yeah.
for you will be for you. But who wants somebody that don't even want you?
Wow. There you go. Well, thank you so much, Brother Obadiah. We appreciate you. I think we'll be able to squeeze in one more caller before we go. Area code 773-737. Got a minute for your thoughts? Go right ahead.
Hallelujah. Greetings, Global Transform.
Well, hallelujah. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Hallelujah.
Because I believe just because one man makes you cry does not mean you should never laugh again.
Amen.
And there's always something in the past that won't let it last. There's a passage in the Bible that says, lead me not into temptation. If that photograph is a source of temptation because that person is still walking around.
Oh, this was a person who had passed away. He still had his deceased wife on the wall, and his future wife to be felt like she can't compete with a ghost.
Right. That's fine. If it's a deceased, it's part of this family house history, that person is still not there. But if that person is walking around as a source of temptation, in relative case, you might want to pat it on the head. That's not a wise thing to do. So remove areas of temptation.
That makes sense.
You don't want to get bit.
Oh, you're right. Well, thank you, Mama D. A lot of wisdom. Definitely, if somebody's still holding on to someone who's live, yeah, you need to let that go. And we've talked about that. You know, how do you feel about somebody, you know, with old pictures of an old flame in their phone and, you know, posting all that kind of thing? Because, you know, people do that. And what does that mean if you're still holding on to someone's photograph that is an X? Maybe they're not X'd out of your heart yet. So, well, that's something to think about. Well, we want to thank all of you all for participating. And of course, join us again tomorrow. We will be back with Shop with Zoe. As always, we appreciate you all. And Brother Kareem, last thought before we go.
60 seconds.
Be regardful of Almighty God and know that you are honorable and dignified. All of us are.
All right. Well, we thank you so much. And continue to pray for guidance when it comes to matters of the heart. See you next time.
We've come to the end of our show today, but you can hear every show in the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. You can also hear today's show on the Female Solution Facebook page. Go to www.facebook.com/the-female-solution. Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsahamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, Jean, France, Merci, Spain, Gracias, Italy, Grazie, Egypt, Shukra, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eche, South Africa, Liabonga, Geret, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Sudan, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakkur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessing.